So we can, it's always awkward starting. That's the hardest
How do I
part.
start this? What's happening?
Yeah. So do you go by Jazz McGee? Is that like how
Yeah,
I
that's
would
my
introduce you?
yeah, that's kind of what I go by as like my
Okay.
work brand and influencer brand. And then my friends and stuff call me Jasmine. It's just a nice way to differentiate.
Oh, that's funny. It's like usually opposite.
I know. I was just
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Jazz is like my online social media personality. It's just really like big and extra. And then like Jasmine, still me, still big and extra, but a little like toned down a little bit.
So we can kick things off. We're really excited to have Jazz McGee here with us today, as well as our very own Casey from Istrico Productions. Can you tell us what your role is at 4-H?
Yeah, for sure. So I am the social media director. I've been at council, we basically National 4-H Council. I've been there for about 3 years now. And so in that role, I do a lot of content strategy, social media strategy. And I've worked very closely with the Istrico team on like brand shoots and youth in action campaign videos. And so, yeah, it's kind of a multifaceted role where I get to combine strategy and creativity.
Strategy and creativity is the intersection that's really hard to get a bunch of people on board with a lot of the time. So can you let us know sort of how you got to that position? Like, because obviously you have a creative background, but you need to get the approval of these really important guidelines and business-minded people.
Yeah, for sure. So early on, I guess in my career, I went to school, University of Colorado, Denver. I got my bachelor's degree in English writing with a minor in theater and television. So after that, I kind of started my career working as a marketing coordinator. And then I ended up working at a hospital. And so that was my first job, really like diving into working with a lot of stakeholders and a lot of pressure and PR and all of that. And then from there, I kind of just built my career. I've worked at like Travel Channel, I've worked at Live Casino, Lifestraw, and then this role actually came about via a random LinkedIn message from a recruiter. So about 3 years ago, a recruiter messaged me and the title literally said like, do you want to do work that makes an impact? And I was like, ooh, I'm intrigued. What is this? So then I opened the message and she told me about 4-H and I had never really heard too much about 4-H before. So I kind of did my research and I was like, oh, this seems really awesome. Yes, making an impact. And then from there, the rest is history. Did some interviews, got hired. I started off as a senior manager, social strategy. And then now I'm the social media director and just thriving and loving it all.
Yeah, that's so funny that you say that because, like,
Yeah.
I mean, my first thought would be like, that's spam. But you also did get, told us last time, like, your first job was also through just a cold outreach because they had seen your blog.
Yeah, so essentially, like while I was in college working on my English degree, I really love house music and festivals and gaming and anime and all my art behind me. I'm super creative. And so I figured, like, while I'm in college, why not start a blog? And then I would share that on LinkedIn because that was like my portfolio at the time, like my blog. And then that's how I've actually found almost all my jobs have literally been just a recruiter reaching out to me on LinkedIn being like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, what's up?
That's so cool. By the way, I had a blog in college too, and it did not create the kind of attention that you've gotten. So
Okay,
Just
it happens.
kudos
to some.
for-
You never
for-
perfect timing, I guess, is how it happened.
yeah.
Is there like a translation of what you're seeing in real life in your creative pursuits to what you're putting out for 4-H?
I would say it inspires it a little bit. I think that being in the EDM scene, I see a lot of creativity and a lot of individuality. And I think that's what I love the most about 4-H is that we get to work with over 6.5 million kids across the nation. And all these kids are so different and they have these unique, amazing personalities. So when I put stuff on social media, we have the opportunity to amplify all these amazing youth across the nation and their individual personalities, their passions, their hobbies. And so I feel that like, I'm really good at getting to know random people, talking to them, learning their life stories, and I get to apply a lot of that work to what I do every day.
That's great. And I feel like a real like radio host. Like we have a caller coming in live. Nora from
Hey.
Istrico Productions is here.
Hello.
Hey, Nora.
Special guest. Hi. I just popped in to say hi and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'll be on in the background. Maybe I'll jump in later.
I do think it's really cool how you've channeled all those different social media platforms and you've used it for your own personal work, and then it's kind of the way that it's translated into your actual day-to-day job. You know, there's so much creativity that goes behind your personal and your work channels. So it's very rare. It's cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel very lucky to be where I am in my life right now. It's been a constant journey of just trying new things, working in different industries. Like, I never thought I would end up working at like a nonprofit for youth development when I used to work at a casino. So, like, I worked at casino, Coca-Cola, like these different brands and whatnot. To see where I am now, it's actually really amazing though, because I love doing work that makes an impact and I get an opportunity to give back. So, I've really been enjoying working in this nonprofit space.
Yeah, I mean, even just putting all that work into a blog for, I'm assuming, more than a week, just feeling like, what am I doing? Like, what is this for? When you were doing that, like, was creativity feeding more creativity, or was it sort of like a muscle you had to exercise? Like, how do you think around like generating creative output?
Yeah, for sure. Well, definitely, I feel that when it comes to my creative process, I like to look at inspiration. So I like to look at other artists or anime, like I said, or video games, or seeing what other brands are doing, competitors, and then using that as like a starting point and then taking it to ideate and remix. I feel that like creativity is a constant process of remixing ideas. I feel that like every now and then there's an original idea, but for the most part, as we see within music and stuff, a lot of things are sampled and remixed, and that's okay because I think it's an opportunity to show off that innovative side. So that's kind of how my process is. Look at some inspiration, go from there. Then I have to put on some music, be in my own little zone, and then I kind of start to get the wheels spinning.
So, what's it like working in 4-H? Like, is it a balance? Figuring out how to like stretch the edges of what you guys normally do versus what you want to do, or is it a collaborative sort of effort?
Yeah, I would say it's a mix of collaboration and then I have my independent creativity. I bring a lot of flair to the organization. So it's kind of nice to be able to be accepted and celebrated for who I am and my unique individuality and personality. And then I get to go into these meetings and like we have strategy, we have budgets, we have like certain constraints, and I'm able to take those guardrails and work with them. But then I also can put like a fun little twist on it and make it a little spicy. So it's kind of fun. It's like, it's never honestly a dull moment. I love the fact that I get to work on so many different cool and amazing projects.
What have you seen in terms of like your work? I mean, it's right around the new year, so it's fun time to reflect like what work you've been doing and kind of where you want to push and what you see for the next year ahead.
Yeah, I would say I think some of the work that I'm most excited about that we've done in the past is our storytelling. And so when I first started here back in 2022, our social channels were just like super graphic heavy. And it just felt like we were just constantly posting like these graphics. And it was like, where is the actual authenticity? Where are the humans? And so since I've been on board, I've really made it my mission to start working with Extension, our partners throughout the nation, and saying, hey, do you have like a youth that we could amplify on our social channels that has a cool story to tell? And so that's kind of been something I've been really proud of, is all the storytelling work that we've done across the nation. And then of course, working with the Istrico team, our youth in action videos and some of that storytelling. But I would say the project that I'm most excited about in terms of like what's coming up this year is Ignite by 4-H. And so that is one of my favorite things because it's an opportunity to see all the work that we do and all the youth across the nation come together in DC, see all these amazing personalities. Some kids have never been to DC before, and they're just so excited to be here. And so I love it because we're doing on the ground social media, talking to people, and it's just a really exciting week.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine, I mean, so much of TikTok now and the trends of social media is authenticity above anything else. So just like throwing, the youths, they just throw things up on the internet and it's not edited. They make a mistake, they don't care. But obviously, as a brand, you need to deliver a message and make sure that you show yourself in the best light. So it's just a really interesting line to walk. I think we're in a really weird moment for all of that.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I think even in my personal work and my social media, I've been trying to navigate that balance as well. I know for my YouTube channel I just launched, I was like so stressed out about making it perfect. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to film this video 5 times and the lighting's not right. And I messed up a couple times. And then finally, by the 6th time I filmed it, it was like probably my worst, but my best take. because it was silly, I was goofy, I hit the mic on accident, a little bit of my coffee spilled. And I feel that that's like the best thing is just being yourself. Like you don't have to be perfect because no one's perfect. People want to see that, oh, you're actually just like me and you make mistakes too, but like you have a way that you kind of make it fun.
I just wanted to hop in quick and just say congrats on the YouTube channel, by the way. I am a subscriber now.
Thank you.
I was just about to ask like what it was. Like what is
Yeah.
this new channel?
Yeah, so my social media name is ThinkSoul25. I've had that name forever, and a lot of people always ask me, "How did you get the name ThinkSoul25?" So, quick story about that is that my brother Jemiel McGee was on So You Think You Can Dance the first season and got third place. So back in so back in 2005, I got to move out to LA, be around him, getting into like marketing, social media. But when he was on So You Think You Can Dance, he had this shirt that said Think Soul. My mom had made it for him. It just said Think Soul. And I was like, I kind of resonate with that. And then my birthday is April 25th. So Think Soul 25. And that's how it happened. So that's my YouTube channel and all my social media. Essentially, it's just a place for me to be myself, talk about anime, video games, dating, lifestyle, career, gameplay videos, anything and everything.
Nice.
Chaz, this is your year. Think Soul 25.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And you're exactly right. I mean, people are coming to watch you, so they don't care if you stumble or, say they say like it's important to have the tools, but then it's important to throw it away and close the toolbox. Like you have the skills, what you want to talk about. Like it's good to have the foundations and the basics, but then it's like you got to throw it away and just stop overthinking.
Oh no, for sure, absolutely. So I've been learning to like not do that and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna put it out there and then kind of see what happens. And some of my videos on TikTok have actually gotten a lot of views and the ones that I thought were gonna get more views that are more rehearsed don't usually perform as well. So the moral of the story is no matter what you do, be yourself because people love that.
How much of your output, like what ends up being creative and fun and connected to your audience and starts from a place of data? Or does data ever really, where does it come in so that you know that you're doing the right thing?
Yeah, well, I definitely feel that data informs creativity. I feel like you can create all the cool, amazing stuff, but then if it's not resonating with your audience and if you see that it's like the numbers are starting to drop, it's not getting a lot of impressions and in reach, then instead of doing the same thing, that's an opportunity to say, okay, let's take a look back. Let's take an analysis of all the work that we've done, like maybe in the past like 3 months, maybe a 3-month glance and say, okay, this video performed very well, or that we've noticed at the 4-H level, our carousel posts are some of our top performing posts versus our videos because it's an opportunity to tell a story and show like a little like a photo dump, kind of like a style of saying, here's what we did in a week or here's what happened at this event. So I think it's important to always know what the numbers are saying, but also not hold yourself to that and not get too stressed out. Because if you post something thinking it's gonna like do like gangbusters and get crazy numbers and then it doesn't perform as well, like it's okay. It's a learning opportunity.
Also, to piggyback off of that, just really quickly, because you mentioned constraints earlier. And
Yes.
do you ever feel like sometimes you want to infuse creativity into the work that you're doing, but you get maybe pushback or you have a hard time kind of getting your vision into action?
I would say, yeah, it depends on the project that I'm working on. So sometimes we have things that are definitely going to be more so like thought leadership. So those type of social posts or partnership posts, I can't do a lot of creativity with that, especially if we have guardrails from the partner that we're working with saying, hey, like our logo must be used this way. This is the messaging that we approved, etc. But I'd say that when it comes to our posts and a lot of the youth storytelling, that's where I have the opportunity to flex more of my creativity, give the youth some guidance on how they should, share their video or what we're looking for. And so I have a way to kind of like be creative in that element. And then I would say one of my favorite things is when I do get to go on video shoots and work with Istrico and work with your team, because even though I'm the social person and like Chris is kind of always like overseeing the brand, I still get to be there and kind of flex my creativity and say, oh, I think this shot would be good. Or like, can we add this in for social? This would be a fun moment. So I love moments like that because there is not too many guardrails. I can just have fun.
Yeah, it's hard to like stay creative, I think, when you're first and foremost, when you have goals you have to deliver on. It helps to be analytic. So finding the balance, making sure you don't become too dry or too like safe. You want to push the box, but you want to accomplish your goals. I think that's like a really interesting dynamic that a lot of brands are struggling with.
TSA, their Instagram is popping. Yeah, like I don't know,
I
y'all gonna
love
follow
it.
the TSA on
Yeah,
Instagram.
they post
Nah,
like crazy things people try to bring through security.
I saw the one about peanut butter, or it says like peanut butter's liquid. I said what I said. I always thought that was fake. Now I think they might have really said that.
yeah, no, some of their posts, and I love the way that like they jump into like trending topics. It's just cool to see how brands hop into those conversations. But I do feel that like a lot of brands are still trying to figure out how do we have strategy, but how do we also be creative? And that's something I had to learn early on in my career when I first worked at Travel Channel, because that was my first actual social media job. I was a social media designer at Travel Channel. And I had fun just kind of like taking clips from Ghost Adventures and Bizarre Foods and like editing them and doing what I wanted. But then I go give it to the marketing department and they'd be like, yeah, but like, what is the CTA? What is the purpose? What is the goal? And I was just like, oh, I thought it was just a funny clip of like Ghost Adventures. So I had to quickly learn that you got to create content with the objective in mind and actually understand that like, even though you think it's fun and engaging, this is a business and there are objectives and KPIs that have to be met.
Yeah, yeah. For our listeners, not for me. What's a KPI?
Oh yeah, so I don't even don't put me on the spot like that. I don't know actually what KPI stands for. However, it's essentially the goals and objectives that we have to meet. So let's say we put up a social media post and our KPI is to get 1,000 impressions or something like that. And so it's like these metrics that hold us accountable.
You also mentioned that you travel and you speak on social media topics.
Yeah, I do. Go ahead.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's something that's kind of come up at this job since I've been working here. And so essentially what we found is that as we started to do more storytelling and getting more into trends on our social channels, a lot of our partners within Extension, a lot of people that work at the universities and do marketing started reaching out to us being like, hey, how can we post stuff like this? Like, how can we be more engaging on our social channels? And so I did a speech, a little presentation, a little workshop a couple years ago at NAE 4-HYPD. Don't ask me what it stands for. Long story short, it is the conference for national 4-H professionals. And so I got to go to Wisconsin. I had never been there. I got to go there and kind of like speak to, educators and teaching them about how to use social media, how to be engaging. And so that was a really cool experience. And then now I've done it at a couple of universities. I'm actually going up to Penn State later on this month to speak at their national leadership conference. And so just talking to teens about building their brand, how to use social media responsible. So just like, it's been really nice to just kind of put myself out there, network with people, and then teach them about how to use social media.
What are their like main concerns? Like what do you end up saying more than anything else?
Yeah, I think, well, definitely in everything that I do, I always tell people, be yourself. So like, don't try to go on social media, put on this fake persona, talk about things that you're not even interested in. Like, you got to find your niche and then stick to it. So if you're really passionate about makeup, then you could be a makeup influencer and start doing tutorials and stuff like that. I'm not a makeup girly. So like, I'm not going to go on TikTok and start doing makeup videos just because it's trending and I saw something. Like, I always encourage teens to be themselves. Don't be too hard on yourself. And then it's important to take those breaks. You got to step back and also just take a moment to take care of your mental health.
What would you say to a teenager or a kid or even an adult who hasn't really found their niche? You are lucky because you have so many different outlets and so many different, creative components about you. It's hard for people, I think, to find that specific niche.
Yeah, I would say you never know until you try. So I think it's one of those things where if you have something that you've kind of been thinking about, you're kind of interested in it, why not try it? And so I think that signing up for a meetup group or finding a club near you or going online, I love Pinterest. So going on Pinterest and looking up like mood boards and different things, just really figure out what you want to do next and then kind of like explore it. And it doesn't mean you're going to love it. You might try something like, I have a longboard. I tried longboarding for a while because I thought it would be cool to be one of those skater girls and be out there with my hair blowing in the wind. I'm not that girl, but I still have this really cool longboard. And so it was a hobby that I can check off my list and I tried it. And then this year I'm going to try Muay Thai because I really like martial arts. I like working out and being active. And I think it would be cool to be like a Jean-Claude Van Damme and just kicking people. So I'm going to try Muay Thai. and I'll either hate it or I'll love it, but you never know until you try something new.
That's very cool. I think that that's a good piece of advice for everybody out there. So, Jazz, how do you stay on top of trends? And are there any trends you're rejecting specifically? And then are you seeing any trends in 2025 that you're excited about?
Yeah, so I would say the best way I stay on top of trends is by being on those social platforms. So being my screen time usage is probably crazy, but being on TikTok and Instagram, not so much Facebook, but really TikTok and Instagram, and just seeing what people are posting about, but also seeing what celebrities are posting about, because I love celebrity gossip and celebrity culture. So also seeing what trends they're popping, it's so good. And then figuring out, okay, is this really gonna take off? Like some trends, they're really awesome, and then some of them are kind of just like, I don't know. But I would say the biggest thing that I'm seeing now is the usage of AI. I feel like AI is not going away. It's here to stay. I know some people are scary that it's going to be like an iRobot situation. It's going to take over the world. I don't know about all that, but I think AI definitely is helpful in like creativity and the creative process. And so I think we still need to celebrate and uplift people that are actually doing things by hand. So artists out there. So I would love to see more trends like that, more of the DIY come into play.
There's got to be a balance though, right? Like you said, kind of between AI and how cool it is and how much it can help us, but then also how we can continue to be creative as a collective and, keep that front and center and make sure that we're all not losing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's great. It's a whole ecosystem of people who get to, if they do care, like some makeup artists are just incredible on Instagram and they love to do it, and now they can make a living, whereas before they couldn't have. That's great. Very excited for people that's happening, but I also think with AI, we're gonna have to like filter through a lot of the noise to find people who are actually doing it.
Absolutely, for sure. And I'd say that social media has been great for my career and like helping me like put myself out there, express myself, network, meet new people. And so I think that that's a great way to also leverage social media, is to put your creativity out there, test it out, network with people, and you never know who you're going to run into and meet.
Jazz, when you buy wine, do you buy it for the label and how cool the label is, or do you buy it because you like the wine?
Or both? I buy it because the label.
Same.
Well, I think we have a great chat. I think we have it.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, I'm so glad you were able to join us and
Thank you, Jazz.
and just talk creativity with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. This was a fun chat. I haven't really done one of these chats before, so it's kind of cool starting the year off doing something new. And then who knows, maybe in the next couple months, you guys will see me being like a Muay Thai badass on my social media. Who knows?
Hell yes.
Hope so.
Thank you for listening to The Strick. If you have any thoughts, we'd love to hear them. Comment here, on Instagram, or LinkedIn. This is a podcast from Istrico Productions. We'll see you all in 2 weeks.